Hi everybody, welcome back to Broadlane's YouTube channel. I am Mika from Broadlane's marketing team, and joining me today is Laurie. So Laurie, would you like to introduce yourself to everybody?
Hey, I'm Laurie. I run Laurie Alyce Adventures TikTok and Instagram page, and I've been working with Broadlane a little bit over the last few weeks to get to grips with caravanning, which has been very new and very exciting for me.
Fabulous. So Laurie, how long have you been camping and exploring and living in the great outdoors?
It really all started a couple of years ago in lockdown. I'd always been kind of outdoorsy. I'd done my Duke of Edinburgh, but I hadn't really done a lot of camping as such, more hosteling up until that point. So when lockdown hit, and of course all the hostels were closed to prevent the spread of COVID, I decided that the best thing I could do is be out in the outdoors, away from other people and camping, and I just really loved it. So I've not really stopped since. I started with car camping. When I went to Scotland, I did camp in a tent, and from there I've camped in whatever will house me.
Love that, love that. So obviously you haven't been camping long, but what would you say would be your earliest camping memory? Do you have anything from your childhood that sticks out, or even from those years in COVID? What's the earliest memory that really sticks out to you?
Yeah, we did a bit of caravanning when I was, or static homing, I guess I should say, as a child, and a bit of tent camping. All of it is, if I'm honest, overwhelmed with memories of squabbling with my younger brothers. But I do remember kind of morning gas stove breakfast, bacon and eggs cooked on a precariously balanced mini hob, as the rest of the campsite wakes up. And I think it's kind of a bit of a campsite tradition, isn't it? It's got a smell of bacon in the morning, just gradually expands over the campsite.
Definitely. One of my earliest memories is always hearing seagull feet on the roof and bunny rabbit heads on the floor, just feeling like completely surrounded by nature in our static caravans when we were younger. So if that would be your earliest memory, then what in the last couple of years would you say is your favorite camping memory?
I absolutely loved camping in Scotland around the North Coast 500. I think the rules in Scotland of being able to just pitch up wherever is responsible are so wonderful and so brilliant for young people to go, or anyone to go exploring. And the thing is, when it's legal and when it's provisioned for, people really look after the spaces because the provisions are there to allow them to do that. So for me, I've just loved waking up I didn't love the midges. I will caveat that and just say that the midges were not fun, but the views and the scenery were just amazing. So definitely Scotland is a highlight for me.
I think the North Coast 500 is definitely something on every caravaner, motorhomer, camper, tent lovers bucket list. I know it's on a few of the Broadlane staff members, that's for sure. So when it came to camping then, what would you say is your biggest learning curve?
Definitely what I do and don't need to bring. On my first road trip, I brought so much stuff, but I just didn't need because I thought it would be useful. So I brought like a portable shower, and I brought my paddle board. And just the reality was that I was moving so often, and that there were just enough places that I could shower that I didn't need it. And they just took up space that could have been better provisioned with like food and water resources, but I was always having to stop to top up.
And that makes sense. That's very, very true. So I'll kind of off of the back of that then, if you were going camping this evening in your car and you could take just one thing, what would you take with you?
Oh, that's such a difficult question. Like a camping like gadget, or
It's you in what you're wearing right now. You're getting in your car and you've got to go camp in it overnight, free camping somewhere. What would be the one item that you'd grab as you ran out the door?
power bank. Easily my power bank. So useful to charge up my phone and my watch and just make sure, because ultimately we've got to keep safety first. And for one thing, camping can be boring. Like the reality is that you're just there. There's nothing. We're so used to kind of electronics and all the rest of it, and if you don't have a book, if you don't have a podcast lined up or something, then it can be boring. So I would take my power bank, so that I've got my phone for communication with my family, make sure they know where I am, make sure that I'm safe, but also so that I can check in on social media and whatever else if I feel the need to.
No, yeah, of course, of course. And for anyone watching who isn't sure what a power bank is, it's essentially something that you charge up that then holds charge. So it's a portable device that you can charge electronics from, whether that be a laptop, a phone, a smartwatch, anything like that. You can charge them up from there. So it's like a backup battery from all of your battery operated needs. So in the last sort of 2 and a bit years, whilst you've been camping, what would be the funniest moment that you've had?
Oh, I mean, it's definitely toilet related, because the big question everyone asks me when I car camp is, where do you go to the toilet? And for the most part, it's really not an issue, because public toilets are readily available, and I go to a lot of attractions, so I can kind of relieve myself there. Plus, McDonald's is open like 24 hours most of the time. However, I did get caught out in Wales when I was driving down from the Lake District, Wales. It's a really long day of driving, and as I crossed the border into Wales, just the heavens opened in a thunderstorm that just went on through the night, and I pulled up to my chosen location, which did have public toilets in it. However, as I dashed from the car to the toilets, they were closed. I could not get in, they were locked, and so I dashed back because it was bucketing it down. And the thing is, with car camping, if you're wet, then there's nowhere for that water to escape to. It just steams up and everything gets damp. So I didn't want to go outside. Usually in that situation, I would find a kind of secluded bush and just have a wild wee, as it were. But I didn't want to get soaked through. So to my mind, and to this day, I don't regret it, it was the only option. Luckily, I'd had a venti Starbucks Frappuccino, which was totally empty, or a caramel macchiato, something like that. It's totally empty, and I thought, I'm gonna have to go in that. So had to like squat onto my seat, take very careful aim, and I'm not sure I could have done it if I'd been through childbirth, put it that way, and then crack the door open and pour it out from there. So that was definitely a kind of moment where I had a bit of an out of body experience of, what are you doing? Why are you in this situation? But got through it unscathed, so that's all right then.
I'm sure also anyone who's watching this who's got children of their own have also aided their kids in relieving themselves into God knows what they've got available in the car when you've been stuck on a motorway, because trying to explain to a child that they have to wait is normally impossible. So no, kudos to you. That is being inventive, and that's what camping is all about, is using what you've got to your resources to make the most of the situation. So you did mention Scotland, but other than that, where is your favorite destination to go camping?
I really enjoyed Wales when I camped in Snowdonia. It was slightly tainted by the fact I locked my keys in my car, which is another incident that you want to avoid if you're car camping. But it is those really beautiful natural spots down in Cornwall as well, when they're quite hot on it in Cornwall for when you're actually allowed to car camp. You've got to check the bylaws and all the rest of it. But on the few kind of very off the beaten track locations that I found, it's just been really lovely, really quiet. And the same for the Peak District as well. Just beautiful views, that kind of low rolling mist that comes in with the sun is just gorgeous. Really, I love waking up to a beautiful view.
Who doesn't? Who doesn't? So for anyone who's thinking of going camping, we've got the October half term coming up. We're having this beautiful Indian summer at the moment. Anyone who's thinking, do you know what, this weekend, let's go camping, or thinking of purchasing a leisure vehicle next year, what would be your top tip for someone who is starting out on their camping journey?
I think if you are buying a leisure vehicle and it's your first time, so if you've got a caravan or a mobile home, something like that, then I'd say go for a campsite first, because if you have forgotten something, or if you have something you need and you just don't have it, you're in a better position to get hold of it or to compensate for it. And campsites are going to have the things that you need, and it will identify those gaps for the future for when you want to go wild camping, because the last thing you want is to be waking up in the middle of the night or be stuck somewhere in remote areas of Dartmoor where the signal is spacey at best, and think, oh god, it might not ruin your break, but it would just be a frustration that you could have learned from earlier. So I'd say start with a campsite and get braver from there.
I love that. I love that. And finally, if any of our watchers or followers or listeners want to find you, where can they find you?
They can find me on TikTok. That's my biggest platform, Laurie Alyce Adventures, and exactly the same username, Laurie Alyce Adventures, on Instagram as well. My Instagram's growing, and I'm really excited by that. But TikTok is where I put most of my videos first.
Fantastic. Well, we'll link all of that down in the description box below. Thank you so much, Laurie, for joining me and giving an insight into another side of camping that our customers may not have seen before. And thank you everyone for watching. If you enjoyed this style of video, please let us know and we will do many, many more of them. And if anyone has any questions for Laurie, please drop them in the comments below and we'll make sure to schedule another one to answer them if there's enough. So thank you for watching, everybody, and we will see you soon.